Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Your host is unmuted. Okay, good. All right. I'm gonna have Molly put the link on, if we even have a link yet, to for the this Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Everything is Eastern time. The world revolves around Eastern time. Link coming soon. It's so exciting. We can't wait. I'm dying. So the thing is that we are having a webinar this Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern time, with we're going to talk about the multifamily investing as a business and showing you how to do it, showing you the steps involved in building your multifamily business so that you can set it up and it runs by itself, which is the best thing about businesses, is creating the systems. So, but that's coming. Make sure that you are on my mailing list so that I get that out to you. You're one of the few, the proud, the mailing list. Okay. This is 3 for Tuesday. 3 ideas. 3 ideas for today are the things that you should do. So you want to do seller financing. Okay, that's fine. But here are the 3 things that you have to make sure you're covering yourself for when you're looking at seller financing. All right. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is don't ask, don't get. All right. So what I mean by that is, where am I? Hold on, Molly, where are you? Where's my comments? No, banners. Here we go. Let's see if I can do. No. How do I add a banner? Here we go. How's that look? Okay, edit it. Hold on. I think I'm doing this wrong. What? Oh my gosh. Create banner. No, I'm doing it wrong. Duplicate. Let me see. Oh, Molly, help me out here. Where's my banner? Oh, no. All right. Wait, she's giving me a private. What do you want? The banner? Oh, Molly, those 3 things that I emailed you. Good. Folks, this is live. This is live. First one is don't ask, don't get. Okay, listen. Back the last couple of years, there was no sense in even asking for seller financing. It wasn't going to happen. And the reason why it wasn't going to happen was because the market was so frothy. There you go. How did she do that? That Molly is amazing. That the market was so frothy that no seller would even think about giving seller financing, because seller financing was just, it was, the market was so rich, you could just ask, crazy amounts and people would pay full cash for the offers. Now that the market's changed and we're having trouble with making some of the numbers work, where the financing numbers are just, crazy interest rates over in the 6% bracket, that's making some of these deals not pencil out. So now sellers are having to get a little bit more creative, and they're more willing to offer some form of seller financing. Okay, so go ahead and ask, but make sure you ask the right way. And the way you want to ask for it is, don't come right out and say, "Hey, is the seller willing to give me a second mortgage?" Don't say it that way. Act like a pro. Ask the broker, is the seller willing to get creative? And shut up and let the broker come back. Now, typically the broker may say something like, well, yeah, the broker could probably, the seller would be interested in seeing, what type of options you're willing to make. But my advice for you is just make an offer. Okay, you did not say no. I asked, and if I Didn't ask, I'm not going to get. So I asked, and I'm going to ask for some form of seller financing. Okay? That's the way you want to word it. Now, the next thing, and this is key, is that you never call it a second mortgage. Okay? Just don't do that. And I'll tell you why, and you'll find out why I know what I know. Don't call it a second mortgage. The way you want to write it in the letter of intent, and all of these asks need to be in the letter of intent or they don't exist. Don't try to come back after you've had an accepted letter of intent and then add seller financing. You've got to do it at the very first initial stage of the process, and that's the letter of intent. So when you ask for the seller financing on the letter of intent, do not ask for a second mortgage. You do not want to pigeonhole yourself into that ask. One of my number one rule, any one of my students on this will tell you exactly, they know the number one rule is always remain in control of the deal. Okay? Now I'm going to show you why what I'm saying is so important. The way you want to ask for it in the letter of intent is, I would like the seller to provide financing in terms satisfactory to the first lender, to the primary lender. In terms satisfactory to the first lender. What does that mean? That's what the seller is going to ask you. What does that mean? And your answer is going to be, I don't know. But I want to know, are you willing to kick in a certain amount of money? Yeah, okay. But under what terms? Well, under terms that are satisfactory to my lender. Well, what does that mean? Well, I don't know yet. We have to go through the financing process and figure out exactly what they're willing to allow. And here's why. Many lenders don't allow second mortgages. So if you asked for a second mortgage at the very beginning and they said yes, and then you get down to 2 weeks before closing and your lender comes back and says, hey, congratulations, you're approved. We're going to ready to close right on the closing day. Except we got one problem. What's the problem? Well, the problem is that there's a second mortgage on this deal. I know. Wasn't I so smart to ask for a second mortgage? Yeah, well, the problem is that we don't allow second mortgages on the properties that we lend on. And the reason why is because we don't want anyone behind us with foreclosure rights that could kick you out, because we like you and we're giving you the mortgage and we don't know who this other guy is and we haven't underwritten him and we're not willing to bring him on board and make him our customer without having vetted him. So we cannot allow a second mortgage. And it's 2 weeks before closing, and it's $100,000 second mortgage, and you've already raised the money to close on this deal, and you have no more friends, and you have no more family, and now you're $100,000 short. And now what you have to do is you have to go back to the seller, hat in hand, and ask him to change the contract so that this can happen. What's the number one rule? Always remain in control of the deal. Who is the second mortgage? Who is now in control of this deal? Not you, because he could look at you in the eye and tell you to go pound sand. Because I agreed I would do a second mortgage, but I didn't agree to anything else. So if you are looking for special privileges from me, I'm not going to give them to you, because I agreed to a second. You said yes. I'm willing to give you a second. If the bank says no, that's your bank's problem. You should have figured that out early on. We're closing in 2 weeks, or I'm keeping your earnest money. That's what could happen. That's why you never call it a second mortgage. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself. You always want to remain in control of the deal. You want to say seller financing in a mode, or I remember exactly how I termed it, in terms that are approved by the primary mortgagor. Okay, so that's how you want to do it. That is how you protect yourself. Now, this third thing is you always make the seller financing terms equal to the primary mortgage terms. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. I take a swig and wait for Molly to change the banner. There she is. Okay. Terms of the seller finance. So here's what happens. Now, picture it this way. You guys get great GSE financing, government-sponsored entities, Fannie and Freddie. They give you great terms. They're your primary lender. They're going to give you a 7-year term. Interest only the first 2 years. Blah blah blah. Really looks good. But remember, they're a government-sponsored entity. They have defeasance penalties. They have yield maintenance. They have, which for those of you that don't understand, it's the equivalent of huge prepayment penalties. Okay, and remember, they don't allow second mortgages. So you get seller financing. You get a 3-year interest-only balloon payment term from your seller, even if it's not a second mortgage. Maybe we put it on as a form of equity within the limited liability company that owns the property. But regardless, it's got a balloon that happens before the end of the 7 years. How are you going to pay it? $100,000. $100,000 that now you have to go out and find that money. Well, if the property's not running great, or if you're in the middle of a rehab, the last thing you want to do is pull $100,000 out of your budget to go pay this guy back. Now you're set back even further. So you never want to terminate your seller financing deal before the Fannie Mae, because you can't go out and refinance that Fannie Mae deal, because they're going to charge you a huge prepayment penalty. You're better off defaulting on the seller financing. So you want to make sure that if the primary financing is a 7-year term, that your seller financing deal is a 7-year term. You want to make sure that all capital events occur at the same time. That's how you do it. And you just there are a few other things that I could talk to you about, but I wanted to give you the 3 for Tuesday. These are the 3. If you have any questions, my students, they pick up the phone, they call me, and this is what we talk about to make sure that they do these types of things correctly when they're negotiating a deal. I don't want to see anybody else get into trouble. I don't want to see anybody else have a problem. Let me see, where's my clicker over here. So make sure that you have at least those 3 things covered that way, and you won't have any problems with your seller financing and getting the deal done and done correctly. All right, that's 3 for Tuesday. Took me 15 minutes. So glad to have you on the call, and we will see you on Thursday for our YouTube Live at 3 p.m. Then I meet with all my cohort members at 4 p.m. And then I will see you on Saturday at 1 p.m. To talk about multifamily, the business of real estate, of the multifamily investing business. It has a title. It's the business of multifamily real estate investing. Right. That's it. Because it's a business, and I want to teach you how to run the business. All right, everybody. Great to see you. And we will see you on multiple times coming up. Bye-bye.